sponsor of the treaty. We'd like to recognize, if we may, Mr. President, with the permission of the body, our distinguished colleague, Senator Robin Hood Padilla, to avail of the privilege hour.
The gentleman from Mindanao and Nueva Ecija, Senator Robin Padilla, is recognized.
Maraming salamat po, Ginoong Pangulo, at sa atin pong pinunong mayorya. A'udhu billahi minasyaitanir rajim, bismillahirrahmanirrahim, alhamdulillah rabbil alamin. Bismillah wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillahi. Assalamualaikum. Ginoong Tagapangulo, mga kagalang-galang na kasamahan, ako po ay tumitindig sa pulpitong ito ngayong hapon sa bisa po ng personal at kolektibong pribileyo. Tunay na nakapanlulumo po ang sunod-sunod na revelasyon ng kapalpakan ng isang pulutong at sindikato di umano sa DPWH. Sa halip na maging sandigan ng ating mamamayan na makapagbigay ng kinakailangang infrastructure laban sa matitinding kalamidad, naging bahagi pa po sila ngayon ng problema. Kawalan ng malasakit sa serbisyo publiko at sa kapwa. Batid ko po na si bagong kalihim Vince Dizon na aking itinuturing na kaibigan at kasama ay patuloy na nagsusumikap na linisin ang hanay ng DPWH. Ako po ay nagpapasalamat sa kanyang agarang aksyon simula sa pagsisibak ng mga tinatawag niyang bad eggs. Nakipagpulong din po siya sa mga dating kalihim ng kagawaran upang humingi ng gabay. Gayunpaman, batid ko din po na napakalaki ng hamon na kanyang hinaharap. Sabi nga po niya sa isang panayam, sa tagal ng kanyang paninilbihan sa gobyerno, wala pa siyang nakitang mas magulo at mas nakalilitong ahensya tulad ng DPWH. Ginoong Pangulo, sa ganitong sitwasyon, maituturing na natin isang klase ng kalamidad ito at nangangailangan ng kagyat na aksyon habang nagsasagawa ng investigasyon at paglilinis. Higit pa na hindi natin maaaring tanggalin ang mga proyekto ng flood controls dahil ang ulan at pagbaha ay mananatiling bahagi ng ating realidad. Kaya po ngayong araw na ito, nais ko lang pong mag-focus sa pagmungkahi ng posibleng kagyat na solusyon. Isang rescue operation, sagipin ng taong bayan sa baha, sagipin ng inang bayan sa talipandas na sistema at sabuatan. Noong unang privilege speech ni Senator Ping Lacson ukol sa korupsyon sa flood control programs ng bansa, iminungkahi ko po na pag-aralan ang posibilidad na iatas sa Armed Forces of the Philippines ang pagpapatupad ng flood control projects. Sinundan po ito ni Senator Panfilo Lacson ng pagsuporta sa out-of-the-box na idea. At nagpahayag na din po si Secretary Dizon ng pagiging bukas sa posibilidad na makipag-partner sa AFP Corps of Engineers sa pagsasagawa ng infrastructure projects bunsod ng mabuting karanasan niya nang makatuwang sila sa paggawa ng mga kalsada noong siya po'y nasa Clark Development Corporation pa. Ang pag-atas sa Corps of Engineers na maging kabilang sa solusyon ng flood control problems ay hindi makabagong ideya. Sa Estados Unidos po, mula po noong 1820s, ay kabilang na ang US Army Corps of Engineers o USACE sa mga river improvement projects patungkol sa pagsasaayos ng nabigasyon, mga simulain na mga proyekto patungkol sa flood control. Taong 1936 naman po, ipinasa ang Flood Control Act kung saan ang USACE ay naging pangunahing flood control agency ng United States na nagbabahagi pa nga ng kaalaman nito sa iba't ibang organisasyon sa loob at labas ng kanilang bansa. Dahil sa taglay na integrity at efficiency ng USACE, kahit noong unay may alinlangan sa mungkahing ito, ngunit sa kalaunan, kinilala ang kakayahan ng USACE na itayo at patakbuhin ang kanilang nationwide flood control program. Ngunit, meron pa rin konsultasyon at cost sharing sa pagitan ng federal, state at local government. Mula noon, daang-daang reservoir, levees at channelization projects ang naisagawa ng USACE sa ilalim ng kanilang 1936 Flood Control Act. At ang mga proyektong ito ay nakaprotekta na nga ng buhay at mga ari-arian, nakatulong sa paglago ng mga bayan at sa pangangalaga ng mga rural farmlands. Bagamat marahil ay nag-evolve na po ang flood control programs ng US sa kasalukuyang panahon, hindi maikakaila ang naging ambag ng tapat at mahusay na serbisyo ng kanilang Corps of Engineers na nooy pinagtitibay lamang na programa. Sa puntong ito, hindi ko po mapigilang ihalintulad ang kanilang karanasan sa atin. Ang AFP Corps of Engineers o AFP-COE na kinabibilangan ng lahat ng engineering units at personal ng AFP, isang institusyon na may higit 8 dekadang kasaysayan ng serbisyo na hindi lamang limitado sa combat engineering, kundi maging sa mga proyekto ng gobyerno na sumusuporta sa national and community development goals ng bansa. Nabanggit ko na po noong nakaraan na ang AFP ay may karanasan na sa pagtatayo ng mga health center, farm-to-market roads, mga paaralan, rural electrification projects, barangay water system, at marami pang iba. Isang halimbawa pa po, ang mga airport development projects na isinagawa ng AFP-COE sa mga taong 2020, 2021, at 2022. Bagamat hindi po ito mga flood control projects, ipinakita ng mga ito ang kakayahan ng AFP-COE na magsagawa ng malakihan at mahalagang proyekto. Pinakamalaking proyekto ay sa Lawag International Airport na nagkakahalaga ng 362.9 million na tinapos ng 51st Engineer Brigade sa loob lamang po ng mahigit 10 buwan. Mahigit pa sa halagang ito ang pinapatalo di umano sa kasino ng mga tiwaling engineer ng DPWH. Yan pong Cotabato Airport Development Project na isinagawa ng 54th Engineering Brigade na may approved budget for the contract o ABC na 158.6 million. 124.4 million lang po ang naging contract amount niyan. May savings pa. Ganon din po sa Vigan Airport Development Project na isinagawa ng 350 feet Aviation Engineer Wing, yung extension of runway project na may ABC na 67.9 million. Ang actual na contract amount ay 60.4 million lamang. Meron na naman pong savings. Sa gitna po ng mga usapin na sumisira ng tiwala ng taong bayan sa pamahalaan, nananatili po ang AFP na isa sa mga ahensya na may mataas na trust at satisfaction rating. Katunayan nga po nitong Hulyo lamang, ayon sa tugon ng masa nationwide survey ng Okta Research, ang AFP po ay may 81% trust rating at 82% satisfaction rating. Mission-driven, disiplinado at matapat, yan ang hanay ng ating mga kasundaluhan, kabilang ang AFP-COE. Ang ating AFP ay nagsisilbi ring bilang isa sa mga pangunahing katuwang ng pamahalaan tuwing may sakuna, mapabagyo, pagbaha o lindol, pandemya man yan. Ang AFP ay isa sa mga unang rumiresponde upang magbigay ng agarang tulong sa mga apektado. Ginoong Pangulo, mga kasamahan, muli inihahain ko sa mataas na bulwagang ito ang aking mungkahi na pag-aralan at isaalang-alang na magkaroon ng mas aktibong papel ang AFP-COE sa paglutas ng pambansang suliranin sa flood control, lalo na sa agarang paggawa o pag-aayos ng mga non-existent o severely damaged na mga infrastructure sa mga highly flood-prone areas. Gayunpaman, pinapaubaya ko po pa rin sa ating mahal na Pangulo bilang Commander-in-Chief ng Sandatahang Lakas at pinuno ng sangay ng executive, gayon din sa bagong talagang DPWH Secretary, DND, AFP, at iba pang ahensya ng pamahalaan ang pag-aaral at pagpapasya sa mungkahing ito. Sapagkat tulad ng nangyari sa USACE, kung madadagdagan ng tungkulin ang AFP-COE, marami pong kakailanganin ding mga karagdagang kagamitan, tauhan, kaalaman at kakayahan. Ipinagkakatiwala ko po sa inyo ang masusing pag-aaral ng mungkahing ito. Ginoong Tagapangulo, ako po ay isang reserve officer katulad po ni Senator Mig Subiri na may ranggong Lieutenant Colonel sa Philippine Army. Nauunawaan ko po ang pangunahing tungkulin ng Sandatahang Lakas ay ang protektahan ang Estado at ang mamamayan at tiyakin ang soberenya at integridad ng pambansang teritoryo. Ngunit, dahil sa track record ng AFP, kumpiyansa ako na kung maatasan sila hinggil dito, ay mapupunta sa wastong pamamalakad ang kaban ng bayan sa halip na dumadaloy ito sa bulsa ng mga tiwali. Ginoong Pangulo, sa tapat na paglilingkod kasama ang AFP-COE bilang sandigan, hindi lamang sa infrastructure ng ating mapapatibay, kundi pati ang tiwala ng sambayanan. At sa bawat pag-ahon mula sa baha, sabay nating maiahon ang kanilang pag-asa. Tandaan po natin, hanggat may baha, may buwaya. Maraming salamat po, Ginoong Pangulo.
Mr. President.
Majority Leader.
Delikado pala, Mr. President, pag may baha. Talagang may buhaya. Mr. President, the good gentleman from Bulacan, our distinguished colleague from our former majority floor leader, Senator Joel Villanueva, would like to be recognized.
Senator Joel Villanueva is recognized.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, distinguished majority leader. Kung pagbibigyan po tayo ng ating kasamahan, ng ating BFF, the good gentleman from Camarines Norte and Nueva Ecija to just ask a few questions from this humble representation, Mr. President.
Opo, Ginoong Pangulo, isa pong karangalan ng makarinig po ng mga katanungan mula po sa isang taong magmula pa noon ay nakikipaglaban na po dyan sa mga flood control.
Maraming salamat po, Ginoong Pangulo. At at the onset, Mr. President, let me place into the records of this august chamber my sincerest thanks and gratitude to Senator Robin Hood Padilla, not only for looking for solutions, Mr. President. Marami gusto na sumausaw sa iba't ibang issue pero wala naman pong mabigay na solusyon. Marami nga po nagsasabi na tuwing nag-iimbestiga ang Kongreso, ang dalawang bahay sa Kongreso, wala rin namang maibigay na solusyon. Kaya po, nagpapasalamat tayo sa Diyos unang-una, pangalawa sa ating kaibigan at kasamahan dito sa Senado na may ibinibigay na solusyon. At nais ko pong i-throw yung aking full support sa kanyang ninanais tungkol po dito sa inisyatibo na itap, Mr. President, ang Sandatahang Lakas ng Pilipinas. Ang isang tanong ko po na nais ipahiwatig, Ginoong Pangulo, ay paano po natin ito may isasakatuparan? Ito po ba ay kinakailangan na maggawa ng isang panukalang batas o isang order lamang mula sa ehekutibo? O ito po ba ay po pwedeng gawin ng, for example, the newly installed Department of Public Works and Highways Secretary would come up of a memorandum or having a partnership with the AFP at magawa itong mga proyekto na kung saan alam natin at sumasang-ayon ako sa gentleman from Camarines Norte and Nueva Ecija na mataas ang level ng pagtitiwala ng taong bayan sa ating sandatahang Pilipinas. So ano po yung pwede nating gawin para maisakatuparan itong mga bagay na akin din pong sinusuportahan, Ginoong Pangulo?
Opo, maraming salamat po sa inyong katanungan, aking mahal na kaibigan. Alam niyo po, ito pong tinatawag po nating AFP-COE. Matagal na po itong ginagamit po ng gobyerno, noong pong lalong-lalo na po, noong 2020, 2021 at 2022. Marami na po silang nagawang mga airport, katulad po ng nabanggit ko po kanina, sila po ay nakagawa na ng Lawag International Airport, Cotabato Airport Development Project po, at Sabigan Airport Development Project po. Malalaking project po ito na hindi na po kinailangan pang gumawa po tayo ng panibagong batas. Ito po ay sa pamamagitan lamang po ng utos ng ating Pangulo nung panahon na yon. Opo. Lalong-lalo na po ngayon, siguro po mas kailangan natin sila sa oras na ito. Opo.
You mean to say, Mr. President, an executive order or a memorandum of agreement will suffice,
Opo.
Mr. President, para sa ganito? Gusto kong susugan yung binanggit po ninyo kasi Ginoong Pangulo, nung tayo po ay nasa Technical Education and Skills Development Authority, we have come up with partnerships like this. In fact, Mr. President, let me point out our partnership with then Congresswoman Telma Almario of Davao Oriental. If I'm not mistaken, Mr. President, we have come up with a program na tinatawag po ay Training Cum Production ng TESDA. Ito po ay libreng training program para sa mga kabataan doon sa Davao Oriental. At pagkatapos habang tinitrain sila, for example, sa construction, bricklaying for instance, gumagawa po sila ng classroom doon po sa Davao Oriental. Maaaring hindi po kasing galing o kasing bilis ng mga hina-hire na certified worker, construction worker, dahil syempre may learning curve pa po Pero ang kagandahan po, kahit na mas tumatagal yung panahon para sa training program, ang nangyayari po, nagkakaroon ng pagsasanay, natututo yung mga kabataan. And while they are learning, Mr. President, at the end of the program, nung training cum production ng TESDA, sila po ay nase-certify. So, ibig sabihin, ito pong mga bata na na-train ay binibigyan ng sertifikasyon. So, parang nagkaroon sila ng diploma o yung national certification ng TESDA that has become a passport for employment not only here in the Philippines but even abroad. So, Ginoong Pangulo, nakikita ko po na napakaganda nung panukala ng ating kasamahan at pwede pong bigyan ito ng kaukulang national certification from TESDA. For example, Mr. President, if the AFP personnel would be given a task for rescue operations, for instance, meron din po ng mga courses sa TESDA. There are about 235 training regulations na kung saan po pwede pong tahiin itong nais nating inisyatibo at nang sa ganon, kahit po yung mga AFP natin, personnel, pwede po rin silang mag-earn ng national certification na magagamit po nila kung sila man po ay mag-retire o balang araw mag-ibang karera, meron po silang national certification. Ito po ba'y katanggap-tanggap sa ating kaibigan ginagalang na kasamahan dito sa Senado?
Opo, napakaganda pong mungkahi nito. Katunayan, bigla pong pumasok sa isip ko yung ating mga nag-ROTC po ngayon. Maganda nating ilagay po dyan sa pag-aaral na yan para talagang mobilize po sila at masanay po sila, hindi lang sila panggera, kundi sa mga oras na ganito na mapoproteksyonan natin ang ating mga kababayan na magkakaroon pa sila ng kaalaman na ibibigay po ng TESDA. Napakaganda po nito, napakagandang mungkahi po.
Salamat po at sa pagdinig at sa susunod na mga araw na mapag-usapan po ang issue na ito, ang topic na ito. Nais po nating magbigay ng ilang mga panukala dahil nakikita po natin yung kahalagahan na alam natin lahat, Ginoong Pangulo, na yung education is dynamic, hindi nagwawakas yan. Kaya nga nung pinasa natin yung lifelong learning na batas dito sa bulwagang ito, nais nating ipakita na hanggat mayroon tayong tsansa na mapukaw yung ating kaalaman at kasanayan, meron po tayong magagawa, mas magiging effective po tayo, mas magiging blessing po tayo sa ating bansa at sa ating mga kababayan. Nais ko lang po, last but not the least, na sabihin, Ginoong Pangulo, na can you imagine, Mr. President, no? Let us just focus, for example, yung pong binabanggit ko kanina, classrooms lang. How many shortage of classrooms do we have all over the country? And you can imagine, Mr. President, if we have students from all walks of life, tinuturuan gumawa ng classroom. Pagkatapos gumawa ng classroom, nagkaroon pa ng certification at diploma on NC mula sa TESDA. Diba, hindi lang po yung tipid ang pinag-uusapan natin dito, Ginoong Pangulo.
Skill.
I am very sure yung billions of pesos na matitipid ng pamahalaan, lalo na yung mawawala sa korupsyon, napakalaki. But just the same as the gentleman from Camarines Norte and Nueva Ecija already mentioned, yung skills and empowerment that we are giving to our people, priceless po yan. So muli, maraming salamat, Ginoong Pangulo, sa ating kaibigan at kasamahan dito sa Senado, Senator Robin Hood Padilla, for taking my questions, and I am in full support of his advocacies. Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, dear colleague. Salamat po.
Majority Leader.
Mr. President, next to interpolate is Senator Rodante Marcoleta. I move that he be recognized.
Senator Marcoleta is recognized.
Maraming salamat po, Ginoong Pangulo. Sana po ay okay pa kay Senator Robin na makapagtanong pa po ng ilang bagay sa ikalilinaw ng kanyang privilege speech.
Opo, isa pong kaligayahan para sa akin po ang makatanggap po ng katanungan sa atin pong ginagalang Senator Rodante Marcoleta.
Kasi ang mga tanong ko, maring hindi mo ikaligaya sapagkat...
basta pag wala pong wala nang baha, wala nang buhaya.
Naunawaan ko po kasi ang pangangailangan ng mga measures kapag dumarating ang mga sakuna, lalong-lalo na po ang baha, na talagang wala naman pong kinikilalang tao yan o lugar, lahat sasagasaan po niya. Kaya naiisip po ninyo na maisalba natin ang ating mga komunidad, ang ating mga kababayan, kahit sa anumang paraan na mabisa. Yun po ba ang gusto nyo sabihin, Ginoong Pangulo?
Opo, Ginoong Pangulo, kasi sa ngayon po, unang-una po sa lahat, maisalba. Kaya nga po tinatawag ko po na isang rescue operation to. Pangalawa po, maibsan ang galit na nararamdaman po ng ating mga kababayan. Sa oras po nito, umuusok ang galit po ng ating mga kababayan at sa tingin ko po, kung meron pong napagkakatiwalaan sila na mga katulad po ng kasundaluhan na napakataas po ng kanilang approval rating, satisfaction rating, magkakaroon po ng katahimikan na rin ang pag-iisip ng ating mga kababayan po.
Tama po yung binanggit ninyo, Ginoong Pangulo, ngunit alam din naman po natin na kahit ano pong mga temporary measures ang pwede nating gawin para lang ma-alleviate natin yung suffering ng ating mga kababayan, ang tawag nga po nila dyan ay mga palliatives o mga cosmetic measures. At kung tawagin ay mga band-aid solutions. Pinakamabuti po kasi na talagang yung pinakaugat ng lahat ng ito kung bakit tayo bumaha ng ganito. At hindi nga natin masyadong makita pa kung gaano ang lawak talaga nito sapagkat nagsisimula pa lang nating tingnan talaga kung gaano talaga karami ang... mga dispalinghadong mga flood control projects kung bakit bigla na lang rumagasa ang tubig sa ating mga kanayunan, mga komunidad. At talagang nakita natin lahat ng mga flood control projects na naipundar ng ating pamahalaan ay talagang ultimong nawasak at parang sinagasaan lahat. Ang tinutukoy ko pong ugat, Ginoong Pangulo, ay yung malawakan at malalim na korupsyon na nangyayari at namamayani na po sa ating pamahalaan. Kapag hindi po natin ito nasolusyonan, mananatili po tayong umahanap na lamang po ng mga band-aid solutions. Nakatutulong po, bakit hindi? Ngunit hindi po natin ganap na napapawi yung pagkamuhi o yung galit ng ating mamamayan sapagkat hindi nagagawa ng pamahalaan ng kanyang pangunahing tungkulin na nakasulat pa man din sa ating saligang batas, nakatungkulan po ng Estado, Ginoong Pangulo, na kailangan pong yung kapakanan po ng kanyang mamamayan ay kinakailangang unang-una sa listahan ng pamahalaan na dapat po nilang asikasuhin. Tama po ba yun, Ginoong Pangulo?
Tama po. Naniniwala po tayo dyan. Kaya po natin na isulat ang akin pong pribilehiyong talumpati, sapagkat kapag nanood po tayo ngayon ng balita at nakita po natin at naririnig ko pa nga po na ang magpapatuloy ng mga proyekto, ng mga katulad po ng mga nasirang proyekto, yung mga proyektong guni-guni, ang magtutuloy daw po ay yung paring mga kontraktor. Kaya po ako lalong nagkaroon ng lakas na loob na gawin po itong talumpati na ito, sapagkat kung pamimiliin po ako kung pamimiliin po ako mismo, kung sino dapat ang gumawa nito at mapagkakatiwalaan ko, hindi na po siguro yung mga kontraktor ngayon. Kung hindi, ito na po sigurong AFP, COE, na matagal na pong gumawa ng mga proyekto, katulad po ng mga airport. Kapag airport po ang ginagawa niyan, ibig pong sabihin, matibay po talaga yung mga runway na ginagawa nito mga ito. At sa cost po, sa cost na kung ano po yung budget, nakakatipid pa po sila. Meron pa pong savings, Kaya po nung narinig ko po yon sa balita, sabi ko, siguro naman mas maganda itong aking itatalumpati dahil ito sigurado, number 1, ang sundalo, disiplinado. Kapag gumawa sila ng kapalpakan, merong kaagad court martial. Merong andyan po kaagad. Talagang mabilis ang aksyon. Dito nga po, gumawa sila ng airport, 11 buwan lang. Kaya po naniniwala po ako, Ginoong Tagapangulo, na ito pong ating talumpati na ito, kapag ito po'y naisakatuparan, magiging, po ito? Pundasyon. Pundasyon po ito. Pwedeng sundan ng mga kontraktor sa darating na panahon kapag nagawa na po nila. Ito naman pong ating panukala, ito pong ating sinasuggest ngayon, hindi po ito pang matagalan. Ngayon lamang po ito, habang naggagawa po ng investigasyon, habang naggagawa po ng paglilinis, kailangan pong may umaksyon na kagad na mapagkakatiwalaan at sigurado pong matibay ang kanilang gagawin.
Salamat po sa inyong sagot. Ngunit ay nakakala ko rin na kahit gaano kagaling, kahit gaano kaseryoso, gaano man katapat ang pwede nating gamitin ng mga tao na pansamantalang makatutulong sa ating mga pangunahing suliranin na inaharap ng ating bansa ngayon, talagang kailangan pa rin na mailatag natin ang isang sistema na kung saan ay malinis natin ang korupsyon sa ating bansa. Kasi kahit kahit sinong tao, kahit anong korporasyon ang gamitin natin, kahit anong grupo ng tao ang gamitin natin, kapag ang sistema po ay hindi tama, ay palaging babalik-balik din tayo doon sa mga paggawa na talagang hindi naman katanggap-tanggap sa ating mga kababayan. Kaya po siguro napansin ninyo, Ginoong Pangulo, sa una pa lamang na pagsisikap natin na may ayos ang sistema natin at kahit papano ma-address natin ang corruption, naging tuntunin po natin nung tayo po ay nanguna sa Blue Ribbon Committee na hindi lamang po yung maliliit na tao ang dapat nating matukoy. Dapat sana pati na po yung malalaki. Huwag nating katakutan kung gaano man sila kalaki. Kaya po kung mapapansin niyo, Ginoong Pangulo, yung nauna nating direksyon ay kung baga tayo'y namimingwit ng isda
Opo.
Sa pamimingwit ng isda, Ginoong Pangulo, gagamit po tayo ng pain. Isang maliit na bagay o isang maliit na isda rin para sa ganoon makahuli tayo ng mas malaking isda.
Tama po.
Yun lamang po ang paraan kasi. Hindi man siguro ganap, maring hindi po natin lahat maayos. Ngunit kailangan nating matukoy, kailangan nating makilala. Hindi lamang po kontraktor ang kinasangkapan dito
Tama po.
Hindi lamang po mga opisyales, Ginoong Pangulo, ang may kasalanan dito ng DPWH, maliit o malaki. Lalong-lalo na yung mga tao na nagpasimula kung paano ilatag ang mga pondo nito para sa ganun ay kanilang malustay. Kaya po ang direksyon na tinahak natin, kinausap natin yung mga ibang mga gustong tumistigo kung sila'y makapagsasabi ng saganang sa kanila, ay yun ang pwede nilang i-contribute sa paghanap natin ng kalutasan, hanggang sa ipangako nga natin sa kanila na sa ilalim ng umiiral na batas, Ginoong Pangulo, meron tayong protection na may bibigay sa inyo kung kayo ay makagaganap doon sa mga requirements na inilatag ng batas. Kung halimbawa kayo'y makapag-apply at kayo naman ay susuriin kung talagang magiging karapat-dapat, okay kayo, matatanggap kayong witness, halimbawa, state witness, ay ganun po yung paraan na nilatag natin. Kasi hindi po madali na makatukoy tayo ng malalaki. Yung malalaking isda na lalong-lalo na yung pasimuno, yung pinaka-mastermind po kung bakit naging ganito ang kinahinatnan po ng mga proyekto na dapat sana naging protection po ng ating mamamayan. Napansin po ba ninyo yung ganong direksyon na Ginoong Pangulo?
Opo. Ako po'y kasama po ninyo sa direksyon na yon, sapagkat naniniwala po ako na dito sa pangyayaring ito, marami po talagang, ito, sindikato po ito . At yung direksyon po ninyo, talagang malaman natin kung ano yung nangyaring sindikato.
Salamat po, at sana po ay yan din ang maging direksyon natin. Wala po tayong sisinuhin kung saan makapunta, kung sino po ang hahanapin ng ebidensyang ituturo. Huwag po tayong mangimi, huwag tayong matakot. Ituloy po natin sapagkat ito lang ang paraan. Makilala natin at sana sa lalong madaling panahon po sa pamamagitan ng ganitong pamamaraan ay maihinto na po, hindi man lahat. Ngunit sana yung karamihan po ng ganitong gawain, maihinto po para sa ganon, makinabang naman po ang ating bansa. Sang-ayon po ba kayo sa ganon, Ginoong Pangulo?
Opo, sang-ayon po tayo. Dapat na po talagang mabuwag yung mga yan. Opo.
Maraming salamat po, Ginoong Pangulo. Maraming salamat, Senator Robin. At palagay ko, idol na rin kita ngayon.
Salamat po.
Majority Leader.
Mr. President, I move that we refer the privileged speech of Senator Robin Hood Padilla and all the interpellations and manifestations to the Committees on Public Works and National Defense and Security, Peace, Unification, and Reconciliation. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, so referred.
Mr. President, having sponsored the measure, I move that we resume consideration of proposed Senate Resolution number 127 under Committee Report number 1. This is the resolution concurring in the agreement on biological diversity of areas beyond national jurisdiction. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, consideration is in order.
I move to open the period of interpellation and record his sponsor, Senator Amy Marcos, and to interpellate Senator Francis Kiko Pangilinan.
We are in the period of interpellations. The sponsor is recognized, Senator Amy Marcos. And to interpellate is Senator Francis Pangilinan.
Thank you, Mr. President. Would the gentle lady from Ilocos Norte be willing to yield to 2 or 3 questions, Mr. President?
Yes, thank you very much. Certainly, Senator Pangilinan, thank you very much, Mr. President.
Yes. First and foremost, Mr. President, we'd like to congratulate Senator Marcos for this, the first measure that the Senate is to tackle, and it's on a matter that's very close to my heart. I'd like to, for the record, Mr. President, may we know, ano ang magiging direktang benepisyo ng resolution na ito at pagraratipika nito sa ating mga mangingisda, mga maliliit, mga kapos na mga mangingisda. Nabanggit sa kanyang talumpati na isa sa mga pinakamahirap na sektor sa ating bansa ay ang mga mangingisda. kung ang ating national poverty levels ay 16%, ang poverty level sa hanay ng mga mangingisda ay halos doble, mga 27%. Kaya ano ang magiging benepisyo ng resolusyon na ito sa ating mga pinakamahirap na isa sa pinakamahirap na sektor, ang sektor ng pangingisda, at paano natin sila matutulungan?
Yes, maraming salamat para sa katanungan, Senator Pangilinan. Yan rin yung tanong ko eh. Ano bang pakinabang natin dito? Kasi pasok tayo ng pasok sa iba't ibang tratado. Wala naman palang tulong para sa ating mahihirap. Sadyang 2.5 ang multiplier ng ating coastal communities pagkahirap-hirap. At yun nga, unang-una, yung access to training, kasi mga sinauna pa yung teknolohiya natin, bangka-bangka, alam naman natin yan, nagpapalaot na halos hindi alam ang mapapala. So yung training and upskilling will be a very large factor. Ikalawa, yung technology transfer, minimithi natin na mag-level up naman yung ating mga mangingisda kasi yung mga sinauna pa rin. Sa amin, sa Ilocos hanggang ngayon, community duck list pa ang ginagamit, yung malalaking fishing net na pag hinila sa baybay, halos wala namang huli. Kawawa naman. Tapos, alam rin natin na they will have better catch kapag may marine resources, yung mga genetic, yung mga data resources, malaking bagay yun, di pa tayo maabot doon. Pagkatapos, meron rin puhunan kasi magbibigay ng seed capital yung voluntary fund, pati yung GEF. May puhunan, baka sakali makapagsimula sila ng halimbawa, ecotourism. Maraming gustong pumunta na galing sa lungsod. May mga bagong livelihood. At yung sustainability, malaking bagay kasi meron na silang predictive capacity para sa iba't ibang disaster. Malaking bagay yun. And also, if we're able to launch significant community projects, direct employment will ensue. And best of all, we will be responsible stewards for future generations if we will embark on sustainable fishing practices. Palagay ko marami tayong mapapala kahit papano.
Maraming salamat sa sagot sa tanong. Siguro dagdag na tanong, saan manggagaling ang sinasabing pondo halimbawa para sa training, para sa technology transfer? At paano ma-access ang pondong ito?
Well, tatlo yung pondo na pinag-uusapan. Yung existing na sa ngayon, yung tinatawag na Global Environment Facility, yung GEF. It started in 1991 and there have been 149 projects in the Philippines with a total of 720 million. 97 are already completed at nakita natin that better catch for our fisher folk and coastal communities have ensued. Maliban sa trust fund nitong Global Environment Facility, meron pa tayong tinatawag na voluntary, may voluntary na special fund which will also be part of the funds that will be accessed, and then also there will be the special fund as well in addition. So tatlong pondo yan na kahit papano, although we will have to be assessed for a share, magbibigay tayo ng share. May ambag tayo, maliit lang naman. At ina-estimate natin as a $24,000 pero sa milyon-milyon na maa-access natin, palagay ko sulit na po.
At is it my understanding na ang ibang mga bansa mas malaki ang kanilang ambag, ganun ba?
Yes, ganun. Siyempre, percentage naka-prorata sa developing countries, mas malaki yung kanila dahil meron silang mga merchant marine at malakihang commercial fishing. Tapos tayo, small time lang tayo kasi maliit rin lang ang ating fishing industry.
Kaya nga siguro napakahalaga na mabigyan ng dagdag na suporta ang ating fishing industry dahil totoong small time tayo. Pero sa totoo lang, kung tama ang ating interventions, hindi tayo dapat small time, lalo na sa larangan ng aquamarine resources, aquatic resources development. Dahil ang Pilipinas ang nakapaloob sa Center of Aquamarine Biodiversity sa buong mundo. At ang Verde Island Passage, ang tinatawag na center of the center, dyan sa baba, sa may Marinduque, Batangas area. Ang center of aquamarine biodiversity sa buong, sa Coral Triangle na kung tawagin po nila. Kaya nakakalungkot isipin na tayo ang pinakamayaman in terms of aquamarine resources, diversity, pero hindi nabibigyan ng sapat na interventions para yung mga pinakamahirap na sektor ng mangingisda ay mabigyan naman ng mas magandang quality of life, ika nga.
Naku, maraming salamat, Senator Kiko, at tunay nga na napakahirap ng ating mga komunidad sa baybay. At nakakahiya sabihin, andito tayo sa kalagitnaan ng dalawang malaking dagat, andyan yung China Sea, yung West Philippine Sea. Tapos, sa bandang kanan naman, yung malawakang Pacific Ocean. Pero ang Pilipinas, net importer ng isda. Nasa 52% pa rin ang huling pagtingin ko. Yung galunggong, yung cream dory, lahat po yan pumapasok galing sa labas kung minsan masama pa sa katawan at kalusugan.
Tama yan. At naalala ko nung gobernadora pa, si Senadora Amy, nagkausap kami dahil ako ang Food Security Secretary nung panahon ni Presidente Noynoy Aquino. At siya mismo ang nag-validate sa akin na kahit sa West Philippine Sea, sa shorelines ng Ilocos Norte, ay meron tayong tuna belt.
That's right.
In fact, meron tayong 3 tuna belt sa Pilipinas. Yung West Philippine Sea tuna belt, yung Pacific Ocean tuna belt, yes, at yung Sulu Sea, Mindanao tuna belt. At nakakalungkot na ang Thailand na walang tuna belt. Sila ang number 1 exporter ng canned tuna sa buong mundo. At ang pakiwari ko, yung tuna na yun galing sa atin.
Aray.
Sabi nila galing sa international waters. So, pwede na siguro maniwala kahit paano. Pero ang maliwanag, ang teknolohiya nila, ang kanilang mga vapor, pwede ng pagkahuli ng isdang tuna bago pa lumapag sa kanilang mga ports, canned na. In other words, may canning facility sa loob ng kanilang mga vapor. At wala silang tuna belt. Kaya malaki ang kailangan habulin ng sektor ng agrikultura at fisheries sa ating bansa. Meron nga akong isang kwento lang for the record na sabi nung isang magdunyog, nung namatay siya ay pumunta sa langit at sinabi niya kay Jesus Christ, Panginoon kong Diyos, araw-araw ako ay nagdadasal para mawala ako sa kahirapan. Hindi niyo sinagot. Bakit niyo hindi sinagot yung aking dalangin na matigil na ang kahirapan ng mga magnunyog? Ako rin ay mangingisda dahil nga kulang ang pagiging ang kita sa nyugan. Pero ganun pa man, hirap pa rin kahit ako'y nangingisda. Bakit? Ang sagot ng Panginoon, sabi nga, ang kwento, binigyan ko kayo ng 300 milyong puno ng nyug, 3 bilyong litro ng cocoa water, 15 bilyong coconut husk taon-taon. Anong ginawa ninyo? Kaya we welcome this treaty ratification. Perhaps one last request, if we may have a list and a description of the 149 projects that were undertaken in the Philippines, a global environment facility.
Yes, the representatives of the DENR are here,
yes,
and we'll certainly submit to your office as soon as possible.
Thank you.
Including the locations of those projects.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the opportunity to interpolate and have some clarifications on this agreement, this treaty. Maraming salamat, Ginoong Pangulo. Maraming salamat, Senadora Amy, sa pagkakataon. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Pangilinan. Majority Leader.
I believe we have just one last interpolator, Mr. President. It's Senator Pia Cayetano. We're just locating in the lounge. See, may we recognize Senator Dante Marcoleta.
Senator Marcoleta is recognized.
GEF is the only one that's here. Where's the special fund and the voluntary? Where is it? It's not here.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Yes,
Pwede
po.
pa? Pwede pa?
Yeah, of course.
Ang pinag-uusapan po natin dito, basahin ko po yung resolution ninyo,
Opo.
Your Honor. Resolution concurring in the agreement under the UNCLOS on the conservation and sustainable use of marine biological diversity of areas beyond national jurisdiction.
That's right.
Tama po ba na ang pinag-uusapan natin dito ay high seas?
Yes, tama po. Ito yung tungkol sa ating mga high seas na hindi contiguous or ECC at saka yung underwater. So high seas and underwater.
Ang ibig sabihin po ng high seas, kagaya po ng aking pagkakaunawa, ay yung karagatan na walang estado ang may-ari.
Tama po.
Kumbaga, pag-aari ng nating lahat.
Nating lahat.
Hindi exclusive kahit kaninong estado. Tama po ba yun?
Yes, that's right.
Para lang po magkaroon ng konteksto yung ating pag-uusap.
Ito ang kaunahang tratado na may kinalaman sa high seas and the undersea resources.
Kasi po sa ngayon, yung mga karagatan na meron tayong claims, kagaya po ng ating territorial sea, kagaya po ng ating continental shelf, kagaya po ng ating exclusive economic zone, hindi po natin 100% na nakakamit ang biyaya na nandyan, sapagkat meron tayong sigwalutan sa bansang China. Tama po ba, Ginoong Pangulo?
Yes, tama po yun. Although this is limited to the high seas and the underwater, meron tayong binabanggit na kinakailangan ng environmental impact assessment kahit sa ating mga contiguous and exclusive economic zones. So at least nakakatulong po ito. It provides us with another platform, another legal framework to protest. Yung nakaraang linggo, narinig po natin, 3,500 hectares ang balak gawin ng China na nature reserve sa tinatawag nilang Huangyan Island. Pero pag tinignan mo, yung Huangyan Island na yan, Scarborough Shoal. Kaya ito ay hindi sasang-ayunan ng UNCLOS at base dito sa tratado ay bawal.
Yan nga po yung aking susunod na itatanong sa inyo. Pinremis ko lamang po doon sa hindi natin ma-maximize ang ating marine resources. Kaya nga po ba tayo nagpupunta na lang sa high seas? Sapagkat hindi nga natin magamit-gamit ang kung ano yung saganang atin, hindi naman natin na ma-maximize. Yun po ba yung naging dahilan kung bakit tayo po ay nagka-concur dito sa conservation ng marine resources outside our own territories o yung tinatawag na high seas?
Yes, ang tratadong to na pirmahan noong 2023 pa. So, hindi pa ganun katindi ang sigalot sa West Philippine Sea. Ngunit, baka makatulong to kahit papano karagdagang pamamaraan to dahil maliban pa sa note verbal, yung ating iba't ibang protesta, yung kung ano-anong diplomatic protest natin, yung mga bilateral talks, multilateral talks, yung ministerial level talks, dagdag rin ito, pwede rin pag-usapan ang mga issues natin katulad ditong pinaplano nilang malaking nature reserve.
Paano po ito, Ginoong Pangulo? Nabanggit na rin po ninyo, China recently declared Bajo de Masinloc a nature reserve, purportedly pursuant to the High Seas Treaty. So sila din, ginagamit nila yung High Seas. Ngunit dineklara nila ang Bajo de Masinloc na nature reserve. Na isa rin tayo sa claimant dyan. Ang tanong po, does our concurrence include a declaration or a reservation regarding the application of the High Seas Treaty to disputed areas like the Bajo de Masinloc?
Baliktad po. Under this treaty, kapag disputed yung area, katulad ng Bajo de Masinloc, katulad ng Scarborough, automatically out of the discussion. Dun sa Implementation and Compliance Committee, sa ilalim ng Article 55 nitong agreement, bawal na bawal po yun at hindi talaga pag-uusapan.
So ang sagot po nyo ay no?
No.
Kung no po, halimbawa, should the Philippines also declare marine reserve areas in the Kalayaan Island Group, for example?
Yes, I think nasa sa atin yon kung magpapatayo tayo doon, pero hindi sa ilalim ng treaty.
If we do that, what will be the implication on the freedom of navigation?
The implication will be that we continue to recognize the freedom of navigation. Wala pong magbabago doon.
Kasi po, Mr. President, theoretically, itong mga reserve areas na ito are supposed to be beyond the national jurisdiction of any state. High seas nga po di ba? Yet there appears to be a scramble to carve marine reserve areas in the South China Sea. Kaya, tingnan po natin yun kung ano magiging implication nun.
Well,
bago tayo mag-concur, di ba?
Well, alam natin na makakatulong itong treaty na ito pagkat kapag may issues katulad nito, there will be international legal proceedings that we can undertake, first with the Implementation and Compliance Committee at yung Conference of Parties. Pagkatapos, pwede rin tayo pumunta sa ICJ, yung International Court of Justice, International Tribunal for the Law of the Seas, yung tinatawag na ITLOS. Lumalawak pa nga ang ating mga remedy kung tutuusin.
Bago tayo lumayo dun sa marami pang mga tribunals na pwede nating puntahan, are there provisions in the High Seas Treaty that need incorporation into our local legislation so that the Philippines can be compliant to the provisions of the said treaty? Kasi magko-concur na tayo.
Yes, there are several laws that we will probably have to amend or update para mag-comply nga rito. Tama-tama po yung sinasabi ni Senator Marcoleta, malaking tulong. Kapag naamyendahan po natin ang PD 1586, ito yung nagtatag ng Philippine Environmental Impact Statement System to align it with the obligation under this treaty, yung BBNJ, for the state party to ensure that our domestic process will be equivalent to the international process. Ikalawa, yung bill po na hindi napasa para maging batas, yung Blue Economy Law. Alam po ni Senator Legarda, siya yung sponsor noon, hindi nakahabol yon. Kinakailangan magkaroon noon para yung marine resources will be shared equally. Ikatlo, rini-review rin natin yung fisheries law natin, kung kailangan i-update din dahil 7 na ang pinipirmahan nating fisheries treaties that probably need to be updated.
But first and foremost, Mr. President, dapat tingnan muna natin kung meron ngang provision doon sa High Seas Treaty na mag-i-incorporate dito sa ating concurrence para sa ganun maging compliant tayo. We need to check if there is a provision in the High Seas Treaty.
Yes, that's correct. And we have an obligation to align with our obligations under the BBNJ.
Okay. Last na po, Mr. President, there is a control test in the Constitution regarding natural resource extraction. The High Seas Treaty paves the way for genetic materials extraction in such areas as Benham Rise.
That's right.
Mr. President, the problem is Benham Rise is not part of our territory. Question is, should there be a legislation lifting or relaxing the control test when it comes to genetic material extraction in areas beyond the 200 nautical miles? Ibig sabihin, beyond our exclusive economic zone, which is the limit from our baseline.
That's correct. And I think...
Yes or no? Pag yes, yes.
What was finally the question? I got lost somewhere in between.
Ang sabi ko, should there be a legislation lifting or relaxing the control test na nandiyan sa ating saligang batas when it comes to genetic material extraction in areas beyond the 200 nautical miles limit?
Yes. I think the answer is yes.
Okay.
And I think there's room to clarify what the Constitution already mandates.
Tingnan mo na, if yes,
Opo.
ang tanong ko, anong limit ang pwede nating impose?
Well, liwanagin na lang natin, kapag high seas at saka yung under the sea, talagang yung seabed of the continental shelf is no longer covered. Ika-clarify lang natin yun. Pero yung sa itaas, atin
Yung
yun.
continental shelf is beyond, bago yung exclusive economic zone, continental shelf muna eh. So hindi siya kasali doon.
Yes, that's correct. The continental shelf.
Oh. Kasi kung no ang sasabihin mo, yung tanong ko, does this mean 100% foreign-owned corporation can be licensed to extract and patent such materials? Yung
Ay, hindi
tatanong
po
ko sa'yo.
pwede yun. Hindi talaga po pwede po yun.
Hindi pwede. Hindi pwede.
Yes, I don't think that's allowed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Madam, for your very candid answers.
Yes, to clarify, the seabed of the continental shelf cannot be covered. Opo. Okay.
Thank you, Senator Marcoleta. Yeah, Senator Risa Ontiveros is recognized.
I don't understand.
Salamat po, Mr. President. A good sponsor, maaari po bang dalawang clarificatory questions lamang po? Very, very brief interpellation, but more of clarificatory.
Yes, of course. We'll be happy
questions.
to answer.
Salamat po, good sponsor, Mr. President. Tinatanong ko po itong mga clarifications dahil tayo po sa Senado, yung ating institusyon ay ang, of course, the treaty-making body of government. Kaya nga po, na-appreciate ko yung sponsorship po ninyo, gentle lady from Ilocos Norte, ng pag-concur natin sa ratification dito. I just wish to clarify 2 points that came up in the previous interpellation. Dahil importante na pag of record, nasisid doon yung pagtingin ng Senado sa ganitong mga usapin ng foreign affairs. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I heard the point made that Bajo de Masinloc is a disputed territory, that Bajo de Masinloc is not an integral part of Philippine territory. I'd just like to seek your clarification on that, gentle lady from Ilocos Norte, dahil sa pagkaintindi ko po, Bajo de Masinloc is an integral part of Philippine territory, Mr. President.
No, I don't think there was any statement that the Bajo of Masinloc was not ours. It's quite definitely part and parcel of Philippine territory, and that's established as part of our baselines. However, it should be recognized that there are other claimants as well.
Thank you, gentle lady. I stand corrected, and I'm glad I appreciate especially yung paglilinaw na iyon na ang Bajo de Masinloc ay integral na bahagi ng Philippine territory. And then just my last clarification, gentle lady from good sponsor, did I or did I not hear that Benham Rice is also not part of Philippine territory? Dahil sa pagkaintindi ko rin po, it is officially part of the Philippine continental shelf, granting our country sovereign rights over its seabed and subsoil for natural resource exploitation.
Once again, I have to be very emphatic. The Benham Rice is part of the sovereign territory of the Republic, and in fact, we have renamed it to Philippine Rice.
Yes. Thank you very much, good sponsor. At maraming salamat din po, Mr. President.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you, Senator Risa Ontiveros.
Yeah.
Just
to clarify, there is a distinction between territory versus maritime rights. Our maritime rights are very clearly extended to the Benham Rice and the Philippine Rice. So, Senator Marcoleta wanted to clarify. I also wanted to inform the body that, in fact, China has already signed this treaty, which makes them party to this treaty and subject also to aligning themselves to the provisions and policies therein.
Maraming salamat po, good sponsor. Maraming salamat muli, Mr. President.
Thank you, Senator Risa Ontiveros. May the presiding officer...
Yes.
Just one point.
Sure.
Because Senator Marcoleta made mention of the Kalayaan Island Group.
Okay.
There are 7 islands that compose the Kalayaan Island Group, the biggest of which is Pag-asa. Is Pag-asa covered under this treaty?
No, it's not in the high seas. So
That's my point, because the interpellator a while ago, Senator Marcoleta, made mention of the Calayan Island Group. And if I recall it right, remember it right, the distinguished sponsor answered in the affirmative na yung Calayan Island Group, high seas. That's my understanding.
Then, baka hindi po nagkaintindihan. Definitely, the Calayan Island Group, all 7 of them, including Pag-asa Island, belong to the Philippines. At hindi ito bahagi ng high seas o ng seabed na tinatalakay nitong tratadong ito.
Thank you for the clarification. Majority Leader.
May we recognize our distinguished colleague from Taguig, Pateros, and the Republic of the Philippines, Senator Pia Cayetano.
Senator Pia Cayetano is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is actually a manifestation. Maybe I'll throw in a question or two, but it's really a manifestation to show my support, Your Honor, Mr. President. So I would like to manifest my support for our concurrence on the agreement under the UN Convention on the Law of the Seas, on the conservation and sustainable use of marine biology diversity of areas beyond national jurisdiction. On a side note, yung pag-aral ng UNCLOS, kasama po yan sa curriculum namin sa UP College of Law. Napakahirap na topic, pinakamababa kong grade. So I am now excited na merong part niya na naiintindihan ko ng lubos-lubusan. Medyo simple lang naman to at maganda rin ho yung mga paliwanag ng ating sponsor. So that's why I am very eager to express my support. This landmark treaty fills a critical gap in international maritime law. Kasi po, ever since itong UNCLOS naman, matagal nang nakasaad, it has firmly been established na maliwanag dyan ang rights and responsibilities ng mga member states within the maritime zone. But what has long left, it has long left biodiversity in the high seas, which is areas beyond national jurisdiction, without a clear, legally binding framework for conservation and sustainable use. The BBNJ Treaty responds to that urgent need. Tama po ba, Madam Sponsor, no? Yes. Na ang UNCLOS natin, covered naman, maliwanag naman yung rights and obligations within the jurisdiction. Pero beyond, question mark, wala tayong guidelines pala dyan, wala tayong rules. Is that correct?
Yes, I suppose so, yes. And of course, we have to make the distinction, as Senator Marcoleta insisted, that maritime rights are distinct from territory.
Yes.
So, kinakailangan intindihin natin yung high seas at saka yung seabed na sakop nito.
Thank you for that clarification, Mr. President. For a maritime and archipelagic nation like the Philippines, this agreement is not abstract. It is practical, it is strategic, and it is necessary. One of the objectives is to ensure the conservation and sustainable use of marine biological diversity of areas beyond national jurisdiction for the present and in the long term through effective implementation of the relevant provisions of UNCLOS and further international cooperation and coordination. I understand that it also aims to regulate harmful activities like overfishing, deep-sea mining, and pollution, even in areas beyond national borders, which help protect migratory fish stock and ecosystems connected to the Philippine waters. Nakinig po ako earlier dun sa mga tanong din ni Senator Kiko Pangilinan, yung concern niya sa mga fisher folks at klaro naman, para sa akin, klaro naman ang UNCLOS dito na when we protect this the resources beyond our jurisdiction, it will naturally have a positive effect for our fisher folks. Tama ho, di ba?
Yes, tama po. At alam ko, tulad ninyo, abalang-abala tayo sa SDG. At talagang lagi nilang sinasabi na lahat daw ng karagatan ng Pilipinas, lahat ng baybayin, overfished, na wala ng isda. Kasi hindi nga natin pinangangalagaan. At kitang-kita po to sa Gensan, dati-rate, tayo yung world capital ng tuna. Number 1 po tayo sa buong daigdig. Ngayon, nangangarag tayo sa number 5. Ang dami pong cannery nagsasara, nawawalan ng trabaho. Ikalawa, abala rin tayo sa sinasabi na yung microplastics, pinakamarami raw dito sa karagatan ng Pilipinas. Puros basura yun, nakakahiya yun. At talagang malalaso ng isda at lahat ng diversity sa ating mga baybay.
maiba lang saglit, nabanggit niyo yung microplastic, kaya nga pinupush ko yung gumamit tayo ng sariling tumbler natin. Pero kahit pala gawin natin yon na we are practicing, we are encouraging and we are actually using sustainable practices here, mamaya yung kinakain pala natin, puro microplastic din.
Oo nga, diba? Sabi nandun na daw sa mga isda, sa
Yun
dinami-dami nga ng basurang tinatapon natin sa dagat.
Exactly. So malaking bagay ho ito kasi no matter what each country does, and we are also surrounded by other countries that nakikita naman natin sa news na nag-aabala din naman sa kanilang sustainable practices. Pero dun sa open seas, kung walang nagbabantay dyan, wala tayong rules dyan, hindi na natin alam kung anong nangyayari doon. So talagang sa tingin ko po, this is a very welcome movement in the field of biodiversity protection and marine biodiversity. But which brings me to my next point, Mr. President. Marine biodiversity involves a variety of all living things in the ocean and areas and the seas, encompassing diversity at the genetic, species, and ecosystem level. So given this, I think natural, pag sinabi mong biodiversity, ang unang iniisip natin is yung sa dagat, no? Yung kalagayan ng ecosystem sa dagat. And so iniisip natin na Her Honor mentioned SDGs, that would be SDG 14, Life Below Water. But what I'd like to point out as your chairperson of the Committee on Sustainable Development Goals, Innovation, Futures Thinking, ang daming tinatamaan nitong UNCLOS amendment na ito dahil ang tinatamaan dito would be SDG 13, Climate Action, SDG 15, Life on Land, kasi nga affected yung buhay natin, yung livelihood ng mga fisher folk, tayo, yung mga kumakain ng mga nanggagaling dyan sa dagat. And dagdag ko na rin, kasi sinabi nga dito na the definition of marine biodiversity includes the genetic, species, and ecosystem level. So, pati yung mga research natin na baka nandun yung mga makakapagbigay sa atin ng solusyon sa mga iba-ibang sakit. Baka yun yung mga plants and yung mga living things doon, sila yung magbibigay sa atin ng kapalit ng plastic.
Tama.
You know, it might be products that we can use that are more
kung
sustainable.
nakikita po natin yung mga pharmaceuticals, biotechnology, ginagaya na ang kalikasan para bigyan tayo ng gamot, ng lunas sa iba't ibang sakit.
So obviously life on land, lahat ng ginagawa natin affected ngayon nitong pinapasa natin o nire-review natin. And then SDG 16, peace, justice, and strong institutions. Kasama nga ho kayong ba't nag-aaway-aaway ang mga bansa dahil nga your resources are yan ang iyong kayamanan. So kung may lalamang dyan, porque mas malaki ang bansa, porque mas maraming malalaking barko, or mas nag-i-invest sa research, at least this will provide some rules on how we can also engage and also maximize these resources that belong to all of us. And then last two, Mr. President, SDG 17, SDG 12, responsible consumption and production. Kasama na yun doon sa example na binigay ko na gumagamit tayo ng sustainable products. Baka nga galing dyan sa dagat ang ibang solutions natin. And finally, SDG 17, partnerships for the goal. So ito po yung partnerships ng government to government, government and local government with other governments, research institutes, international institutes, private companies, lahat ho to would all be affected, would all be interested in exploring and for some taking advantage of what's there. So this is very important that we form these important partnerships.
Maganda pong nabanggit ni Senator Pia to dahil dinidiin nitong tratadong to yung mga IP, yung indigenous peoples who live in the coast or on water, yung ating mga badyaw, yung iba't ibang talagang lumulusong sa karagatan. Meron silang mga knowledge, meron rin silang mga data, meron rin silang impormasyon na kailangan galangin at protektahan.
Tama. So this will also, what Her Honor is saying, if I understand correctly, is that as those who are able exploit these resources, meron din ngayong guidelines na magbibigay protection sa mga kapareho natin na mga kababayan na they live near the water and they have traditions and customs and livelihood that need to be protected. Yun ho yun.
Yes, that's right. And we can also derive techniques, protective efforts, and different technology from them. May mga IP technology na ginagaya na po ngayon.
Thank you. So with that, Your Honor, I reiterate my support for our concurrence on the agreement under the UNCLOS on the conservation and sustainable use of marine biological diversity of areas beyond national jurisdiction. Thank you so much to the sponsor for patiently answering my questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Senator Cayetano.
Thank you. Majority Leader.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. President. No other member wishes to interpolate the measure. I move to close the period of interpolations.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the period of interpolation is hereby terminated.
Mr. President, I move to open the period of amendments, Mr. President.
Is there any objection? Hearing none, the period of amendment is open.
I believe the good sponsor has an amendment, Mr. President, for her.
Kindly proceed, distinguished sponsor.
Thank you very much, Mr. President, Majority Leader. I have a single amendment in the title of the resolution so that it should read concurring in the ratification. Dagdag lang po, ratification of the. And then the rest will be agreement under the United Nations Convention of the Law of the Sea on the conservation and sustainable use of marine biological diversity of areas beyond national jurisdiction. So, yun lang po ang isang amendment.
Is that a motion?
Yes, Mr. President, I move to approve her motion, Mr. President.
Senator Pangilinan is
yes, Senator Pangilinan, I'm sorry, Mr. President, I did see him.
Here.
Yes, just a clarification on the amendment, with the permission of if the senator from Ilocos Norte is willing to.
Yes, it was just an omission because this has actually been ratified already in 2023. Okay. But the Senate is presently concurring in the ratification. Nakalimutan po yung ratification of the agreement.
Okay. So this was ratified in 2023 by the
President, I believe. The President, no? Yes.
Okay, and therefore the Senate is concurring
and
with
then
the
it has to proceed to the Senate for concurrence because it's a treaty, as we know.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Madam Senator.
I think in certain copies, just to observe, I think Senator Marcoleta noticed that United Nations did not have an S. So other copies contain the S. In any case, obviously, United Nations contains an S.
Yes. So there being no objection to the motion of Senator Aimee on her amendment, Mr. President, I move that we approve the amendment.
You move to close the period of amendment?
No, just the amendment proposed by Senator.
Any objection? Hearing none, the motion is approved.
Thank you, Mr. President. There being no other members who wish to propose amendments, I move to close the period of amendments. Both.
Any objection? Hearing none, the period of amendment is hereby terminated.
With that, Mr. President, I move to approve on second reading proposed Senate Resolution number 127, subject to style, Mr. President.
Is there an objection? Hearing none, the motion is approved. Proposed Senate Resolution number 127 is approved on second reading.
Thank you, Mr. President, and therefore we can proceed to third reading as this is a resolution and treaty. With the permission of the body, upon consultation with our minority leader, I move to suspend the rules of the Senate, specifically Rule 36, Section 101, to allow the immediate consideration and approval of third reading of proposed Senate Resolution number 127. I so move, Mr. President.
For the record, the motion of the majority leader is to suspend the rules, and these are only contained in the Senate rules. This is not part of the 3-day rule of the Constitution, and therefore we may do so.
That's correct.
Any objection? Chair hears none. The rules are suspended specifically for this particular resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President. You're absolutely correct. Mr. President, with that, I move that we vote on third reading on proposed Senate Resolution number 127. This requires the concurrence of the Senate and is mandated by the Constitution. Mr. President, I so move.
Any objection? Chair hears none. The motion is to vote on third reading. Senate Resolution 127 contained in Committee Report Number 1, and because it is for third reading, the Senate Secretary is authorized and shall proceed with the roll call vote.
Roll call vote. The Honorable Senator Aquino. Senator Cayetano Alan. Senator Cayetano Pia. Senator De La Rosa. Senator Ejercito. Senator Escudero. Senator Estrada. Senator Gatchalian, Senator Go, Senator Antiveros, Senator Lacson, Senator Lapid, Senator Legarda, Senator Marcoleta, Senator Marcos, Senator Padilla, Senator Pangilinan, Senator Tulfo Erwin, Senator Tulfo Rafi, Senator Villanueva, Senator Villar Camille, Senator Villar Mark, Senator Zubiri, Senate President Soto III.
Affirmative.
Yes, and affirmative on myself as well, Mr. President.
With 22 affirmative votes, no negative votes, no abstention, Senate Resolution 127 under Committee Report Number 1 is approved on third reading.
Mr. President, I'd just like to congratulate the sponsor, Senator Amy Marcos. At the same time, Mr. President, just to put on record that in the 19th Congress, she also was the first to approve a measure. I think that was the 18th, 19th, and now the 20th Congress. She is the first senator to pass on third reading a measure. So congratulations to the hardworking Senator Amy.
Mr. President.
Congratulations, Senator Amy Marcos. Senator Joel Villanueva is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just to put into the records my desire, Mr. President, to just insert into the records my explanation of vote, Mr. President, if that's okay.
So authorized. Yes. Majority Leader.
May additional reference, Mr. President, I believe there's additional reference to business. We move to additional for the additional.
Secretary will proceed with the second additional reference of business.
Additional reference to business, messages of the President of the Philippines. Letter of His Excellency President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. dated 12 September 2025. Returning without signature the Consolidated Senate Bill number 1470, House Bill number 11372. An act strengthening the mechanism for land use development and infrastructure planning and budgeting for state universities and colleges. Amending for the purpose Republic Act number 11396, otherwise known as the SUC's Land Use Development and Infrastructure Plan, LUDIP Act. Pursuant to Section 27, Paragraph 1, Article 6 of the 1987 Constitution. The veto message states in part, earmarking 25 billion annually over a fixed period of 5 years, or a total of 125 billion disregards the annual budget deliberations, budgetary priorities, and other policy goals. Appropriating such a huge amount for projects that are as yet identified may needlessly lead to wasteful spending, and worse, follow the path of fraudulent contracts that now plague the bureaucracy. End of quote.
Yes. You said unidentified, right?
Yes.
All right. All right. So, referred to the Committee on Rules.
Letter of His Excellency President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. dated 12 September 2025. Returning without signature the Consolidated Senate Bill number 2895, House Bill number 11539. An act amending Republic Act number 10591 as amended, otherwise known as the Comprehensive Firearms and Ammunition Regulation Act, pursuant to Section 27, Paragraph 1, Article 6 of the 1987 Constitution. The veto message raises concerns about, number 1, the removal of the mandatory ballistic identification requirement for locally manufactured firearms, replacing it with photographic documentation. Number 2, the increase in the allowable ammunition per firearm from 50 to 500 rounds for regular license holders and up to 5,000 rounds for licensed sport shooters. And number 3, the streamlining of the permit to carry firearms outside residence, including extended validity and exemptions from threat assessment for certain professions, which may dilute the safeguards under Republic Act number 10591.
Referred to the Committee on Rules. Majority Leader.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Mr. President, just a reminder to our colleagues that on Monday, instead of today, Mr. President, on Monday we'll have an all-member caucus. As soon as we start session, we can do that, or we can do it earlier, Mr. President. What is the pleasure of our Senate President? We can do it at 2 p.m. or after we start, Mr. President. So we can make the announcement.
It's better that we do that after the roll call.
Okay, Mr. President. So we'll have an all-member caucus.
Yes, everyone will be present, and it will be we will be convening at 3 p.m.
Okay, Mr. President. Thank you. Well, we have no other matters, Mr. President. With that, I move that we... okay. My apologies, Mr. President. Medyo mahina yung stop ko sa pagbigay ng mga other matters. Hindi binibigay sa atin on time. Mr. President, my apologies. We still have
na-delay lang.
Kulang ng kape, Mr. President. Kulang ng kape.
All right.
Mr. President, pursuant to Rule 10, Section 13 of the Rules of the Senate, I move to elect the members of the following committees. All. Okay. For the Committee on Games and Amusements, we, of course, the chairperson, Senator Erwin Tulfo. Members are
Erwin Tulfo.
Erwin Tulfo. Thank you.
Muntik na mapunta kay Rafi.
Vice Chairperson, Senator Christopher Bongo, Senator Bato de la Rosa, and then on Deputy, of course, there are 2 Deputy Majority Leaders, Senator J.V. Ejercito, Senator Risa Ontiveros. The members are Senator Rafi Tulfo, Senator Mark Villar, Senator Lito Lapid, Senator Kiko Pangilinan. We're still waiting for the members of the minority. And, of course, the Deputy Minority Leader and all the 3 ex-officio members, Mr. President.
Any objections? Chair hears none. The enumerated names are hereby elected into the Committee on Games and Amusement.
Committee on Games. Mr. President, I move to elect the members as well of the Committee on Higher Technical Vocational Education. First and foremost, of course, the chairperson is Senator Lauren Legarda. The vice chairpersons are Senator Bam Aquino, Senator Win Gatchalian. Of course, the 2 deputy majority leaders, Senator J.V. Ejercito, Senator Risa Ontiveros. Members on the part of the majority are Senator Pia Cayetano, Senator Kiko Pangilinan, Senator Rafi Tulfo, and Senator Mark Villar. We're still waiting for the members of the minority, Mr. President, and of course, Senator Joel Villanueva, our Deputy Minority Floor Leader, and the 3 ex-officio members. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, enumerated names are hereby elected into the Committee on Higher Technical and Vocational Education.
Mr. President, I move that we elect the members of the Committee on Public Order and Dangerous Drugs. The chairperson is Senator J.V. Ejercito. The vice chairperson, Senator Bato de la Rosa, Senator Christopher Bongo. The deputy majority leader, Senator Risa Ontiveros. The members are Senator Erwin Tulfo, Senator Win Gatchalian, Senator Bam Aquino, Senator Lauren Legarda, Senator Rafi Tulfo. We're still waiting for the members of the minority, Mr. President, and the Deputy Minority Leader, Senator Joel Villanueva, and the 3 ex-officio members.
Any objection? Hearing none, enumerated names are hereby elected into the Committee on Public Order and Dangerous Drugs.
Mr. President, I move that we elect the members of the Committee on Social Justice, Welfare, and Rural Development. The chairperson, of course, is Senator Erwin Tulfo. The vice chairperson, Senator Christopher Bongo, Senator Amy Marcos, and the 2 deputy majority leaders, Senator J.V. Ejercito, Senator Risa Ontiveros. The members of the party majority, Senator Lapid, Senator Gatchalian, and Senator Pangilinan. We're still waiting for the minority members, Mr. President, but the deputy minority leader is also here, Senator Joel Villanueva, and the 3 ex-officio members, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none. The enumerated names are hereby elected into the Committee on Social Justice, Welfare, and Rural Development.
And Mr. President, on the part of the Committee on Trade, Commerce, and Entrepreneurship, I move that we elect the members. Of course, the chairperson is Senator Rodante Marcoleta, And the members are Senators Kiko Pangilinan, Senator J.V. Ejercito, Senator Ontiveros, Senator Cayetano, Senator Win Gatchalian, Senator Lauren Legarda, Senator Mark Villar, the part of the minority, Senator Joel Villanueva, Senator Christopher Bongo, Senator Amy Marcos, and the 3 ex-officio members. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, enumerated names are hereby elected into the Committee on Trade.
May I ask for a minute heard by Senator Erwin Tulfo yesterday, which made reference to the related bill that he filed. I move that the said privileged speech be referred exclusively to the Committee on Accountability of Public Officers, the Blue Ribbon Committee, Mr. President. So move.
Any objection? Hearing none, the motion is approved. For the record, we will correct the number of those who responded to the first call of the roll earlier. It should be 17, not 16. For the record. Majority Leader. Session suspended.
We may proceed to elect the members of the minority to the different committees. Mr. President,
Yes,
I move. Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move that we elect the part of the minority, the Committee on Agriculture, Food and Agrarian Reform, Senator Christopher Lawrence Go, Senator Robin Hood Padilla, Senator Amy Marcos, Senator Bato de la Rosa, Senator Marcoleta, and Senator Villanueva. So move, Mr. President.
Any objections? Hearing none. Elected, the enumerated members' names are elected into the Committee on Agriculture.
Mr. President, I move as well to elect the members of the Committee on Constitutional Amendments and Revisions of Codes for the part of the minority. Number 1 is Senator Christopher Bongo, Senator Bato de la Rosa, Senator Rodante Marcoleta, Senator Padilla, Senator Villanueva. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none. Enumerated names are hereby elected into the Committee on Constitutional Amendments and Revision of Codes. Sorry.
Mr. President, I move that we elect the members of the Committee on Culture and Arts. For the part of the minority, Senator Robin Hood Padilla, Senator Rodante Marcoleta, and the Deputy Minority Leader, as I mentioned, Senator Villanueva. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none. Enumerated names are elected into the Committee on Culture.
Mr. President, I move that we elect as well members of the Committee on Economic Affairs. On the part of the minority, Senator Rodante Marcoleta, Senator Amy Marcos, Senator Robin Hood Padilla, and Senator Joel Villanueva as Deputy Minority Leader.
What committee is this?
Committee on Economic Affairs, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, the enumerated names are elected into the Committee on Economic Affairs.
Mr. President, on the part of may I ask, why is energy only one name? Senator Gola. Tapos na ba yung energy? There's only one name. Okay. Yes, Mr. President, may we elect the members of the Committee on Energy, Mr. President, on the part of the minority, Senator Christopher Lawrence Go, Senator Jingo Estrada, Senator Amy Marcos, Senator Bato de la Rosa, Senator Marcoleta, and Deputy Minority Floor Leader, Senator Joel Villanueva. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, enumerated names are elected into the Committee on Energy.
Mr. President, I move that we elect as well the members of the Committee on Labor and Employment, Human Resource Development. On the part of the minority, Senator Christopher Lawrence Go, Senator Robin Hood Padilla, Senator Jingo Estrada, Senator Bato de la Rosa, Senator Rodante Marcoleta, and the Deputy Minority Floor Leader, Senator Joel Villanueva. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, the enumerated names are elected into the Committee on Labor.
Mr. President, I move that we elect the members on the part of the minority for the Committee on Public Works. They are Senator Christopher Bongo, Senator Amy Marcos, Senator Bato de la Rosa, Senator Rodante Marcoleta, and Senator Joel Villanueva as Deputy Minority Floor.
Any objection? Chair hears none. Enumerated names are hereby elected into the Committee on Public Works.
Mr. President, I move that we elect the members of the part of the minority on the Committee on Tourism. They are Senator Christopher Bongo, Senator Robin Hood Padilla, Senator Jingo Estrada, Senator Bato de la Rosa, Senator Marcoleta Rodante, and Senator Joel Villanueva, our Deputy Minority Leader.
Any objection? Hearing none, enumerated names are elected into the Committee on Tourism.
Mr. President, I move that we elect as well members of the minority in the Committee on Women, Children, and Family Relations. They are Senators Christopher Lawrence Bongo, Senator Amy Marcos, Senator Rodante Marcoleta, and Senator Joel Villanueva's Deputy Minority Leader.
Any objection? Hearing none, the enumerated names are elected into the Committee on Women.
Mr. President, I move that we elect the members of the local government representing the minority. These are Senators Christopher Lawrence Go, Senators Robin Hood Padilla, Senator Amy Marcos, Senator Bato de la Rosa, and Senator Joel Villanueva's Deputy Minority Floor Leader.
Any objection? Hearing none, enumerated names are elected into the Committee on Local Government.
Mr. President, I move as well to elect members of the Committee on Migrant Workers on the part of the minority. They are Honorable Senators Christopher Lawrence Bongo, Senator Robin Hood Padilla, Senator Jingo Estrada, Senator Amy Marcos, Senator Bato de la Rosa, and Senator Joel Villanueva's Deputy Minority Leader. So moved.
Any objection? Hearing none, the enumerated names are elected into the Committee on Migrant Workers.
Mr. President, I move as well to elect the members of the Committee on Sports on the part of the minority. Senators Jingo Estrada, Senator Robin Hood Padilla, and Senator Joel Villanueva as Deputy Minority Leader. So moved, Mr. President.
Any objections? Hearing none, elected the enumerated names elected to the Committee on Sports.
Kulang ba ito? Sa akin? Okay. Mr. President, I move that we elect the members of the minority representing the cultural communities and Muslim affairs. Of course, the chairperson of this committee, Senator Robin Hood Padilla, and his members, part of the minority, Senator Christopher Lawrence Bongo and Senator Joel Villanueva's Deputy Minority Floor Leader.
Any objection? Hearing none, enumerated names are elected into the Committee on Cultural Communities.
I believe we already finished the Trade and Commerce and Entrepreneurship earlier. Kompleto na. Yes. Thank you. Our distinguished colleague, Senator Kiko Pangilinan, wishes to add the two members of the Committee on Agriculture. I believe they kulang pala ng dalawa pa. To add Senator Lauren Legarda and Senator Erwin Tulfo, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, Senator Legarda and Senator Tulfo are elected into the Committee on Agriculture.
And I believe there are just two committees left, which is the list of Senator Cayetano, which is the Urban Planning and Housing as well as Cooperatives. We have one extra member, Mr. President, for both. So we'll have to give back the list to Senator Cayetano, our Minority Floor Leader. Mr. President, I move that we elect the members of the Committee on Justice and Human Rights on the part of the majority. Of course, the chairperson is Senator Kiko Pangilinan. We're still awaiting his vice chairperson. We have the Deputy Majority Leader, J.V. Ejercito, and also the Deputy Majority Leader, Risa Ontiveros. May I ask for a minute suspension, Mr. President? Yes, Mr. President. I move that we elect the members of the Committee on Justice and Human Rights. The chairperson, of course, is Senator Francis Kiko Pangilinan. The vice chairperson is Senator Pia Cayetano, and the Deputy Majority Leader, Senator J.V. Ejercito, Senator Ontiveros, and Senators Bam Aquino and Senator Erwin Tulfo. So move, Mr. President.
Any objection?
Erwin or Rafi? Justice to Justice. Yung sa si Rafi. Yes,
additional yan of the previous membership that you already mentioned.
Yes.
For Justice.
That's correct, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, enumerated names are elected into the Committee on Justice.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, we'd like to also elect the members of the majority in the Committee on Constitutional Amendments and Revision of Codes. The chairperson is Senator Kiko Pangilinan. The vice chairperson, Senator Pia Cayetano. The Deputy Majority Leader, of course, are Senator J.V. Ejercito and Senator Ontiveros. Then we have Senators Bam Aquino, Senator Rafi Tulfo, Senator Wing Gatchalian, Senator Lito Lapid, and Senator Lauren Legarda.
Any objection? Hearing none. Enumerated names are additional into the Committee on Constitutional Amendments.
That's it, Mr. President, for the moment, and then maybe on Monday we can already complete the lineups of all the committees so that they can start functioning and we can have some committee reports on deck, Mr. President.
All right. In the meantime, we ask the Secretariat to provide the senators a clean copy of the all members list of all the different committees so that we will see if there are any vacancies.
Yes,
or
ethics, Mr. President, ethics.
Anything, there might be an
Yes,
over membership.
Yes, Mr. President.
So we'll see to that on Monday. Aside from the inclusion of the journal, of course, that
yes,
as you have manifested. All right. Anyway,
thank you, Mr. President.
Go ahead. The Secretary has been informed.
May I move for 1 minute suspension, Mr. President, requested by Senator Legarda.
Session suspended.
With that and no other matters to discuss, I move that we adjourn session until 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Monday, September 22, 2025. Maraming salamat, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none. The session is adjourned until 3 o'clock in the afternoon of Monday, September 22, 2025.